I fear that underneath my smiling exterior, I fear that I have a lot of hatred for women. Just starting to realize this from my psychotherapy and from my attendance at 12-step meetings for sex addiction. I think about those little bits of bother I had many years ago in Pico Robertson's Finest Orthodox Schools. Perhaps it was not all their fault. I don't think I ever saw my hatred so clearly before. I've long known that many wise people found me toxic. Long tried to just dismiss their opinion because sitting with it was way too painful. Could not even face the possibility they were right. Now I just had to dismiss them. I remember I had this rabbi friend about 4 years ago who said he'd take me to a sex addiction meeting, and I blew him off. I thought his suggestion was ridiculous. Every healthy man's a sex addict, right? I'm no different than any other red-blooded all-American male. That was how I thought. Now I see I really do have a strand in me that does hate women. Now, don't be a simpleton. I don't only hate women. I also love women. I adore women. I respect women. I fear women. I have the full spectrum of emotions towards women. Many of my emotions are even appropriate. I have female friends going back 30 years. I've always had an approximately equal share of male and female friends. I've had many romantic relationships with women, some lasting up to a year. So hatred's not the only emotion I feel towards women. It's not even the strongest. But there is a definite strand of unnecessary hatred towards women that perverts my psyche. I've learned through my psychotherapy that when it comes to my fantasy life, it's all eroticized rage, which is basically anger. See, I don't fantasize about candlelight dinners and marital relations and long walks on the beach. I fantasize about doing the nasty. Some bitch who thinks she's too good for me. Now, by confessing these loathsome tendencies, I'm not saying that all women as individuals should be exempt from hatred any more than all men should be exempt from hatred. When a person acts despicably, it's a good thing to hate what they do, and sometimes even to hate the person who is unnecessarily hateful. So I see nothing wrong with hating individuals. Hating the wicked can be a mitzvah. My problem is that I've been living in reaction, I think, to some over-controlling mother figures from my earliest years. My mother was diagnosed with cancer when I was 1 year old. Over the next 3 years I lived with many different families and had many different mummies. It's kind of hard for me to go back in time and to see these things clearly, but I think I often felt squashed by some of my female caretakers, and in reaction I kind of developed this hatred for women, wanting revenge. Must have my revenge, even if it's just through some viewing of degrading pictures on the internet. I think my favorite fantasy is that of the controlling bitch getting her just desserts. Particularly love it when I read stories about female teachers who are getting busted for sex with their underage students. These women would throw their lives away, risk their families and careers and reputations for something so self-destructive. That's just hot to me. Or it was hot to me. Finding through my hours of psychotherapy, 12-step meetings, and my readings on sexual addiction, eroticized rage, starting to reprogram my psyche so that the cruel, exploitative fantasies that drove me slowly starting to weaken. And I think I'm a monster in my behavior. I haven't screwed around in 15 years. And I realized by this point that the sex addiction or the eroticized rage or this strand of hatred for women is just a symptom of what's really going on underneath, which is an underlying lack of connection and a lack of feeling valuable. But I've just been thinking about the traits of women that I hate the most, and I think number one, most importantly, I hate that the really hot women have so much power over me, and they won't let me attain them. I hate that they turn me down for dates. I hate they don't return my calls or my emails. I hate it when they don't accept my Facebook friend requests. I hate it they don't like me staring at them. I hate it they eject when I try to chase them around the room and paw them. I hate it they would find it creepy if I looked in their windows. I hate it that I can't stalk them. I just want to hang around hot women all the time, and I just want to smell them, and I want to look at them, and I want to read their email and see what they wear and see how they choose it. I want to go through their diaries. I want to go through their closets. I want to look at their lingerie. I want to read their bank statements, their credit card reports. There's nothing as fascinating and intoxicating to me as a beautiful woman. And I hate how much sway that beauty has over me. I hate the addictive high I get from female beauty. I hate how easily affected I am by an attractive woman just giving me the time of day. So I hate that many of these hot women drive nice cars, because I'm sometimes sputtering down the road in my old bomb and I look out my window. There are all these hot chicks out there, chicks I'll never get to touch, and they're smoking hot. They're driving nice cars, and some of them are probably doctors and lawyers and professors, so they're probably haughty, and I think, they never taste the humiliation I swallow every day with my oatmeal from just wanting so badly what I can't have. I feel like if I could just get to talk to some of these chicks, I could heal the pain that spears me. I could just get to talk to them. It would only be okay to look at them for longer than 5 seconds at a time. If I could only just smell their perfume and their skin lotion, their hair conditioner for 5 minutes, if only I'd have 7 minutes in heaven with them in the closet, if they'd only let me put the tip in, well, then I'd just be the happiest guy in the world, and all my anger would melt away. Praise be to Jesus. Baruch Hashem. And then I have all these things. I have many attractive women who are friends, and it's amazing how quickly it can go that, for a few seconds there, a few minutes, I'll be looking at a woman as this fantasy sexual object. Then I'll start to relate to her, and I'll start to talk to her. Suddenly she becomes completely real, and just in the space of 2 seconds, when she becomes real for me, she changes from this fantasy sexual object to a complete human being with all the attending vulnerabilities. And my resentment just disappears once I get a full sense of her humanity in my own, I guess.